everyone.
Hey guys.
All right.
Hey Miss Lynn.
Oh, hey, Miss Lynn. Hey, Cheyenne. Hey, Kristen. Hey, Bailey.
Y'all missed it. Bailey almost just got beat up.
No, she did not. Well, I mean, she was being real loud, and I told her she needed to not be so loud. But anyway. All right. So tonight we're talking about it's not about me. And I think, a lot of times in marriage, I would say, especially the very beginning, that's a really hard thing because your whole life, I mean, let's face it, for the most part, it's been about yourself.
Me. Yeah.
So then you get married and
Everything changes.
yeah, and it's like, oh my goodness, now everything has to be about this person. Then you have kids, and then it's a whole new balance because you're having to figure out how it's about the person you married and the kids.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to talk a little bit about that. And so, first thing, when you get married, you're joined together as one. So at that point, everything you do, you should have your spouse
Hey Mom.
in mind. Hey, Mama Sharon. Every single thing you do should have your spouse in mind. And it's sometimes it's big things, but sometimes it's little things. Some of my examples are, so everyone knows he loves Pepsi, and so I make sure he has Pepsis all the time, 2-liter Pepsis. I make sure that he has snacks that he likes to eat. I make sure that he has deodorant and toothpaste.
Yeah, speaking of which, while it's on my mind, my green sweet tart ropes are expired. They're no good, so.
You tasted them?
No, they're just as hard as that table right there. So I was like,
no.
I'm going to pass on that.
Okay. So I need to find you some more.
Yeah, I was looking at Family Dollar, but I never saw any.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
sorry.
Maybe I can handle that.
That was on my mind.
So, anyway, he doesn't have to wonder about if he's going to have toothpaste, deodorant, toothbrush, cologne, shampoo. I mean, any and everything. Clothes. He doesn't pick out his own clothes. He don't buy his own clothes.
Yeah.
And he hasn't.
I haven't.
Since we've been married.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time I bought anything for myself.
Besides, like, his car and stuff like that. You mean?
Yeah, I mean, like anything,
like clothing.
Like,
and
oh,
things.
I need this. I should run to the store and grab it. That doesn't happen. No, because she knows what I need before I need it. I'll be like, oh, I'm out of body wash. She'll like, there's 17 canisters of body wash under your cabinet if you'll just look. Oh, I need deodorant. Yeah, there's 3 boxes under your cabinet if you'll just look. So, yeah, she's always got me at the front of mind and not self. And when you get married, that's a really difficult thing because you're the one that's always having to get your own stuff. Always, no one's doing it for you before you get married. And then when you get married, you have to start. Even I got you a UFC sweater. Me and Tabitha keeping you clothed.
Yes.
Yeah. Even Jordan got me a UFC sweater. It's one of those things. It's like I know the things that I need, but she loves me so much that she just gets them for me. And the thing is, if I didn't have them, I would be like, hey, why didn't you got this or that? You know what she could say? Well, you can get it yourself. But yeah, you've trained me that you're going to get that for me. And so yeah, it's a difficult transition from not married to married.
I'll tell a funny story. So when we went to the woods,
You talking about our hiking trip?
yeah, we
Okay.
went on our hiking trip.
Mm-hmm.
So I pack his suitcase every time we go anywhere. He just comes home and it's packed.
Even if she's not going, she packs my suitcase.
I do. And so that day he came home and I said, I'm going to need you to get your pants out of the closet. And he looks at me dead serious and says, why do I have to pack them? And I looked at Bailey because she was sitting there beside me and I said, I have created a monster.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically. Anyway, I said, I'm not telling you have to pack your stuff. I'm telling you need to get the pants and bring them here. And he was like, oh, okay. So then he did that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he you know, I'll say this. He doesn't do excuse me. He doesn't really do any of those things, but the amount of things he does do, even though it might not be, inside the house, is abundant. Like, he makes sure, like, I physically pay the bills, but he makes the money
Financially
to pay the bills. If something happens to me, he will not know how to pay the bills. He wouldn't even know where to start.
I'll be foreclosed on, cars repoed, cable turned off, no internet.
So I'm going to need a few of you guys to come over here and like help him out. I have shown Bailey like different things just so she knows. Because he would be
How are you going to
lost.
show her and not me?
You would remember?
No.
Okay, then that's why. That's why I showed her. So, anyways, but those are all of those things are things I do for him with only him in mind. But then there's also things I do for myself, but he's still in my mind when I do those things.
Yeah.
If anyone knows me, they know that I've been on this like super health conscious journey and for months now. And I gave up sugar. I don't know how many months. It's been a lot of months at this point. How many months has it been?
For what?
That I gave up sugar.
4, 5?
Yeah, it's been a lot of months. I gave sugar up.
Jordan just sent me a message. I was reading.
Oh.
Said he'll fund me for a year.
So I gave up sugar anyway, and I did that for me ultimately. But I had been reading how sugar was like really bad for so many different things in your body, and it like causes inflammation and all of these things. So I gave it up with me, but I also gave it up with like my kids in mind and him in mind, because I was like, if there was something that I could do and it, make my life more healthy, why wouldn't I do that? And so it was hard. People are like, thank you, Kristen. She said I was doing so good. She's proud of me. People are like, how do you give up sugar? It was hard. The first 4 weeks, I did not love it.
And it really kind of put me in a bad situation because I would always get her just little snacks that I knew she liked. And that was, just one of those little things like, oh, I'll get her some Reese cups or Peachos or whatever little sweet treats that she liked, and that would get me brownie points, right? Well, I went the other day and I was going to get her something. I was at the store and I was like, let me get her a little snack. And I'm walking down the snack aisle and I'm like, oh no, I can't get her anything. So
I do like sugar-free Jolly Ranchers.
That's disgusting. But
I do.
So now I'm relegated to buying sugar-free Jolly Ranchers now. But yeah, it kind of put me in a bad spot. But yeah, you're doing so good on not eating sugar.
Thanks.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
You could at least take my gifts and be like, oh, thanks, babe, even if you throw them away.
Cheyenne said, now you have to rethink your
Exactly.
strategy.
What am I going to do for brownie points now?
You bring me a
Sugar,
Coke Zero.
sugar-free brownie points.
Sugar-free Jolly Ranchers. So, that's just an example of something I did with, me in mind, but I also had everyone that lives in the house with me in mind. And, I go to the gym. Usually, Kristen said, I'll eat Slade's gifts for us all. I go to the gym usually, if I don't make it 3 times a week, I at least always make it 2. But then I work out at home as well. And I do that for me because it makes me feel better. And I know it's good for my body and all of the things. But there again, I also do it because, why would I not want to live a healthier lifestyle for the ones around me that love me? So, there's so many things I think that we do and, we might be in mind, but also, our loved ones are as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you said, to start with, we are now one.
Right.
We're one flesh. So me has to be dead. Me has to die. And, like the Bible says, it's no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And if our ultimate goal is for self to die, then that means self has to die to sin. Christ has to live through me, and then self has to die in that marriage, and that marriage has to live through us.
Yeah, and if our body is a temple, then, I should take care of what he gave me.
Yeah.
And so that's, it's really been where I've been the past, 6 months or so. And go ahead.
And I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, that's been not joking. That's been tough on me because it in turn puts pressure on me to also follow suit and cut back on some of the things that I indulge in.
Because I've always been a healthier eater than him. Always. But I did used to eat, like I would eat Oreos sometimes at night. Like I would eat junk sometimes too. Where now I'm not eating any junk. But now Gavin is very much like me. He has always eaten, like I'm not saying he won't ever eat something fried or whatever, but most of the time he chooses grilled and he doesn't eat a ton of junk. Bailey, she's much more like her father.
She is her father's child.
She tries to do good, but she does love candy. She loves it. And so, like, she eats pretty good. It's just the candy.
Yeah, I bought a pack of, like a big bag of chewy sweet tart, little pebbles, little minis. I don't know what they're called.
That's what they're called, minis.
Okay, well, and she said they're called minis, but they're on my desk at church. And I was sitting there eating some the other night, last night.
That's what Bailey used to call it when she was little.
I was sitting there and I just kept getting a handful last night, and I was like, "Stop! Stop! Like if your wife walked in here right now and saw you eating handful after handful of sweet tart minis, she'd tell you to stop. So just stop." And so it it's the pressure's kind of shifted over to me on that. They're calling me. Here we go.
Poor pitiful her. No, we're not calling you fat. We're saying that you eat a lot of candy.
Speck of dust.
Yeah. Thankfully, she's like her dad in that sense too. She can eat all that junk and she don't gain a ton of weight. I don't have those genetics. Anyway, so he called us fat too last Sunday. It's okay. If anyone was at church Sunday. That is basically what he said. That is basically what he said.
I had instant regret too. I'm so sorry.
It was funny.
It was
I
funny.
mean, it was funny. It was very funny. It was true too. Was it kind of necessary? I don't know about it, but it was true. Cheyenne's the best pastor ever.
Oh man, I literally said, I can look around the room and see that ain't true.
Yeah, he's been living with me too long, apparently. But he also lived with his mother before me, and she pretty much says whatever's on her mind as well. So, anyways, y'all never miss a meal. Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. Anyway, so there's, and if there's something that okay, I have said this before on here. I cannot stand to hear a woman or man, once they've gotten married, to say, "Oh, I don't do that anymore because I'm married now," or I don't have to do that because I'm married now. That actually drives me insane. Like, so you get married to this person and then you let yourself go. Well, I'm not trying to be any kind of way, but if they weren't attracted to that prior to you, then they probably won't be attracted to that once you decide to let yourself go. Like, if they started dating you or married you or whatever, and you were, like shaving and those types of things.
Yeah, if I started dating you and you took care of yourself and makeup and hair done and nails done and shaved and just everything just right, and then I marry you and you completely let yourself go, you've trapped me under false pretense.
Yeah.
And that's not okay.
Yeah, I agree.
It is 100% not okay.
And like, obviously, there are things that you might gain a little weight, like, whatever. But at the same time, even though I have gained weight and lost it throughout our marriage, there's one thing about it. He always knows it's coming back off. Even if I gain it, it's going to come back off because I'm not happy with myself. And this time I've decided I'm just going to keep it off because this losing it is getting a lot harder the older I get. Because my metabolism does not work the exact same as it did at 20. So now at almost 40, I'm going to keep it off this time because I don't want to have to do this again. And the thing is, it's not the fact that I wasn't still I would work out occasionally instead of regularly. And then I would eat more Oreos than I needed. So that's why I kicked the sugar, because I was like, that's my problem. It wasn't necessarily the other things I ate.
Yeah.
I had a sugar problem.
Junk.
And I was like, I don't need this. So anyway, I've shaved my legs every day since I started shaving. I started shaving at 9 years old. Gosh.
That's a lot of razors.
A long time. Almost 30 years.
Hey, Courtney.
Hey, Courtney. And so, I continue to do that. I'm not going to stop doing that just because we got married and I've trapped him at that point. We're not going to do that. I see men sometimes that I knew prior to them getting married, and they used to keep their hair cut and things like that. And then I see them after they get married. One, they've gained 150 pounds. And then the next thing, no, I'm serious. And the next thing, their hair has been overgrown 6 months.
Yeah, but I never shaved.
No,
there was no false pretense.
Well, he used to have facial hair.
He used to have me a little goatee, one of them deals.
He did.
Thought about bringing it back.
No.
And then mustache.
Mm-mm. No, he's not going to do that either. Um, mm, I'll pay for him to get laser on his face.
We'll see.
So, anyways, so that's something he knows though that I don't like. I don't like facial hair, and it's not that I don't like facial hair. I don't like for him to have facial hair because it reminds me of my dad. Because every time my dad would kiss me like on the cheek when I was little, his mustache and beard would like prick me all in the face. And so as soon as your hair starts getting prickly, it reminds me of my dad, and that's a no for me.
Catfish.
Yes. So anyway, that's something I don't like. And so that's something that he does try. I mean, he does shave
Like,
a lot more often.
I do it for her, but at the same time, like, there's only so long that I want to go without shaving also. And so I do it for me, but ultimately it's because she prefers it that way.
Yeah.
So it's not about me and what I want. It's about her.
Yeah. And also like I keep my nails done, and I like keeping my nails done. I've always kept my nails done since I started getting my nails done when I was 12. And so I've always kept them. Even when we couldn't afford it, I would buy the press-ons and I would do them myself at home. I would paint them and all the things. Tony's an all-out rebellion.
I think your son is too, Miss Lynn.
And so anyway, I know that he likes for my nails to be done, so and I like to keep my nails done, so that's something that I've always kept up.
She sent me a picture of somebody, I'm not going to name any names out of privacy, but she sent me a picture of somebody the other day, and their fingernails were grown out 1/4 inch. And I said, how often does she get them things done? And she told me, I said, well, it needs to be more often than that.
Yeah. He cannot stand grow out. He'll be the first one to say something.
Like, if you ain't gonna keep them up, just don't get them. Anyway, I don't want to get on that soapbox again.
But Cheyenne said a red flag. I agree. I mean, I think that if you're doing all of those things, and then after you've been married to someone 6 months or a year, and you just let all those things go,
don't get mad when they say something about it. Like,
right.
You said it. You set yourself up.
Yeah, and that's another thing, though.
And them.
I think that a lot of times when people are married, they feel like they can't tell their spouse because they're afraid they're going to upset them or make them angry or whatever. And it's like, we should be able to have open communication about anything. Like, if there's something I don't like, I should be able to tell you, I don't like that. Like, I wish you would do this or whatever.
And she will tell me.
I will. I can't really think of anything he's ever had to tell me because I stay.
Well, I mean, it can be in any case. It doesn't have to be just something,
physical,
minor like that. I literally called you yesterday and told you I didn't like something that happened the night before. You can't be, can't hold on to stuff. You got to be open. And if if there's something that your spouse is doing or is not doing,
or did
but not doing now, then you need to let that be known. Maybe they don't even realize it. Maybe they don't even know.
Right.
They could be unaware that they've slipped or let this go or whatever. Don't be scared. My gosh, you're married to them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what are they going to do? Get mad? They'll get over it.
I would say what are they going to do? Leave, but yeah, a lot of people do that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Like, that
crazy.
is insane.
Yeah.
I'm not. No.
Mm-mm.
I ain't going nowhere.
Me either.
You're going to have to put up with me.
Yeah, I feel that. So, in a marriage, we just have to remember, we have to go back to, it's not about me, everything we do, we have to think about that person. And, whether that be, um, I, I have a problem. Sometimes I won't tell him what Cheyenne said. We're not mind readers. If you need something or want something, tell each other so it can be fixed. Yes, before it's a fight. I agree. So I'm bad about, I'll just buy something and not tell him. Like, and I'm not talking about something small.
Oh, really? Like what?
I mean, like, I've bought a purse before and I didn't tell him till after I bought it. He acts like he don't know. He's just being funny now. And like, I mean, I didn't say anything. I just come home with it. And I was out of town and I bought it. But looking back, I probably should have cleared that with him first. I did not. Them 4 dogs. Oh no, he knew about all 4 of them.
But man, yeah, that was a little bit of a fight for every one of them.
Yeah.
Every one of them, all 4 of them. I don't want anything else that eats.
Well, we won't get 5, that's for sure.
I heard that after 2. We won't get 3. Then we won't get 4.
Yeah, we won't get 5. Anyway, so that's something though that I had to change the way I thought about it. And I know I had a problem. Like, I would be like, well, why do I have to clear this with him? It's our money or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but he deserves to know. Like, you should respect him enough to be like, hey, is it okay if I do this? And it's not even necessarily that he would tell me no. So I don't even know why I would.
Yeah, I can't. And it's probably a problem. But I can't think of a time that I've told you no.
I can't either.
So it's my fault.
Well, I take it back. There's been a few times he's told me no at first, but then he eventually says, okay. Rick Warren's Purpose Driven Life, the first page. That's what my mom used to tell us when we were being selfish. So, yeah, like and that's probably, I take it was not a $35 purse. No, ma'am.
You can probably move that decimal over 2 spaces, Miss Lynn.
It was not that much. Well, okay. It wasn't quite that much. Yeah, like, I think in a marriage, you should have like an amount though that you need to clear. Anything over $1,000 probably needs to be cleared.
Probably needs an okay from the other one.
Yes.
And and I would say that varies on, house to house.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree.
If you got $40 in the bank, you probably don't need to go spend $30
right
on anything.
Yeah.
Without clearing it with the other person, without asking somebody something. I hope not, Miss Lynn. I don't really know, but I hope not.
He said he don't know how much it costs.
I don't know how much it costs.
He knows about how much it costs because he has bought. He's been very kind and bought me good gifts.
Live within your means.
Yes,
absolutely.
Agree.
Cheyenne.
And so, I felt bad after I did it. Like, I was like, I did not clear this with him. I should not have done this. Like, all of the things going through my head.
I bet she thought to herself, I should take it back, then call and ask him, and then go back and get it again.
No, actually, I never thought about taking it back. Well, the one time I did think that thought crossed my head, I thought, I am not going back in that store and taking that back.
Made an impulse buy. Can you please take this back?
Yeah, so anyways. And
yeah, Daddy, you're correct. That would be too much.
Um, I will say this: whenever I buy a purse, I research it to death. Every purse I've ever bought, I can resell it for the same thing or more than what I paid for it. Um, just because what I buy, it holds value and then it grows in value. Um, it's just, it's who I am. You know, some men are like, oh, I buy these guns because I could sell these guns one day if we needed the money, you know, or whatever. It's the same thing with my purse. Like, if we need to pay our bills for a solid month or two in the house, I got some stuff I could sell and we'd be okay.
Yeah.
So, when I do spend a lot of money on something, I do try to make sure if I needed to sell it, I could at least recoup my investment.
Yeah. It's good.
So, but anyway, I'm gonna let you talk for a minute.
I don't have anything. I don't.
Oh, okay.
I'm wholly unprepared. I was just going with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I just didn't want you to feel like I'd taken over here.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
And
anything under $1,000 is free game.
Basically. Anyways, so I think so backing up to when you come into the marriage. So, you know, we grow up and we do everything on our own timeline. For the most part, like when we're excuse me, kids. Like we do it on our parents' timeline, and then once we get to be teenagers, like it becomes more of our own timeline.
Yeah, you do what you want when you want.
Yeah, and then young adults, same thing. And so then you get married. You know, we were 20 when we got married, and y'all all know we weren't saved prior, so we lived together. We've lived together since we were right after we turned 19. And it was a transition, like a huge transition, because I lived alone for a year. And he still lived with his parents, but he was in college, like he was working. He wasn't like a child. I mean, he was, but he wasn't. But I lived on my own for a year. Well, then I move him in, and now I have someone else in my space. And that was difficult. It was hard, like having to figure out, like, you know, because you have to like call that person and be like, hey, I'm going to do this, or hey, I'm going to do that. Hey, April.
Like, unacceptable, April.
So, you know, like if I was going to the gym when I got off work, I would just go. Like I didn't have to tell anybody before he and I started living together. And if I wanted something to eat before I went to the gym, I just ran through and got me something to eat. Well, now I have this other person that I'm having to think about, and I'm having to, you know, ask, hey, you know, do you want something to eat? And then it's like, well, I can't eat before the gym because if he wants something to eat, well, now, and there's so many factors that go into, you know,
another
person
being in your life.
And April said she'd much rather be home than in the heat. I don't blame you. So, you know, I had to learn how to like manage that. And to be honest, the first several years, I stopped going to the gym completely. And I actually had this conversation with him not too long ago. I was like, I stopped going because I felt like it was inconveniencing him in some way, which it wasn't. But that's how I felt, probably because I've never been good at asking someone if I can do something. or having to run everything by someone.
She's still not good at it.
Yeah, I'm not. Um, like I I didn't. That's why I moved out. I I, I started living on my own 2 weeks after I graduated high school because I did not like someone constantly needing to know every move I was making. And I wasn't doing anything bad. I worked a full-time job, went to college for full-time. Like I was a good kid for the most part. Um but I didn't like the fact that I would get off work and they would be like, "Well, you need to come home." Okay. Well, I've been at work all day. Maybe I want to like go get something to eat with my friends or whatever. But anyway, it was never I could never do I felt like, and it might not have been the case. I probably should have asked and I probably could have done more. But I just didn't like having to ask, so I didn't. I have a daughter very much like me in that sense. She does not like having to clear things. Um, so now she doesn't like now she'll shoot me a text and tell me what she's doing, but like she doesn't text me and be like, "Hey, can I go do this?" Because that's crazy. Like she's 19, almost 20 years old. Like, as long as she respects me enough to be like, "Hey, mom, I'm going here or going there or whatever," then that's cool with me. But when I lived at home, it wasn't like that. Like, I would have to still ask to go somewhere, and that was not for me. I don't mind telling someone what I'm doing, but I don't like having to ask someone if I can go do something. And so, but some marriages, that's what they require. And like every marriage is different. He and I do not require that. He's not going to ask me if he can go do something.
No.
Um, which is why I think God put us together.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons.
That's one of the reasons.
No one would be married to either of us.
Yeah, I think we've said that on here before. No one would be married to me except for her.
And
no one could be married to her except for me. Not for long, anyway.
No, because I'm not going to ask. Like, I can plan a vacation when he's at work, and I'll just tell him when he gets home, "Hey, on this weekend, I'll be gone. On this week, I'll be gone." Like, whatever it might look
plan
like.
a vacation for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Hey, on this date, we're going to this place," and then have to remind me weekly.
Yeah.
Leading up to it.
Like, if he goes to play golf on a Saturday, it's not, "Hey, can I go play golf?" It's, "Hey, we don't have anything to do this Saturday, right?" No. Was it in the calendar? Then we don't have anything to do. Okay, I'm going to play golf.
Yeah.
Like, there's no asking. That's
But hey, now
but
y'all do y'all.
Exactly.
Don't get yourself in trouble just because that works for us. It may not work for
that
you.
That doesn't work for everyone.
That may not work for you.
No. That's just what we do.
I would venture to guess it will not work for you.
Yeah. So. Like I literally, whenever I thank God for him, that's one of the things I thank God for. The fact that I don't have to ask him.
That I'm not a tyrant.
Yeah. And so, and I was on the phone with Cheyenne earlier, and she said something. She said,
"Don't be telling everybody's business."
No, she was saying that whenever she was praying for Dalton, like certain things she prayed for, like whenever she was praying for a husband. And I thought, I never prayed for a husband. Not ever.
But God gave me you.
Yeah. So like, but I just thought, wow, that's crazy. Like, people prayed for a husband. I did not.
I did not.
Did you pray for a wife? No.
No.
I was like, that's so awesome that Cheyenne was little praying for her husband. That's so awesome.
That's great. I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
But I did not do that.
I did not want one, if I'm being honest. It was never in my radar. Like, I can remember growing up, like most of my sisters, they would have all these baby dolls. They'd be like, "I can't wait to grow up and be a mom," And I was like, no, I did not play with baby dolls at all.
Yeah, and I think that's what as selfish as I was, that's what made marriage that much tougher, but also that much more necessary for my walk with Christ. Like I had to learn how to it always not be about me. Like that was literally probably the hardest lesson I've learned is in life. Period. Is that it cannot always be about me.
Yeah, and y'all have heard me say this before on here, the first several years of our marriage, that was hard.
Yeah.
He was hard. He struggled with being selfish. And it was, you've heard him say it in the pulpit if you've heard him preach before. It was definitely a transition that he had to go through. And now he's one of the most selfless people I know. And that was 100% God, because I had told him and told him and told him, but until Christ got a hold of him, it didn't change. Where me, on the other hand, well, I'll let him tell.
About what? About which part?
If I'm selfish or
Oh no. She's very selfless and has always been selfless. She does way more for people than I think she should. And we just had that conversation yesterday. I was like, you do more than you should for other people, and to a point that it causes her distress, it causes her anxiety, and I'm like, you just gotta learn your nose. And she's done better. And just because you say no to someone doesn't mean you're being mean or rude or anything of the sort. Sometimes you just don't have time, and you don't have to make time.
And the thing is, I'm not a people pleaser. Like, I'll be the first one to be like, no, I'm not doing that. Or no this,
Yeah.
or no that. But if it's something that I feel like I can do, I'll do it, even if it puts me out.
Mm-hmm.
And he said I've always been that way. I have. Y'all heard me tell on here before that, or I don't know if I've told in here. I know I told in ladies group that I was in college, and anyway, he had Bailey, and so I put every thing that I thought I wanted to do and every dream I had on the back burner because I knew she needed me. And so it didn't matter what I wanted to do at that point. And I was 19, I was a kid. I was 20 when we married, but I immediately put everything on the back burner. I've tossed around the idea of going back to school lately, online. And I might. I don't know yet. But I feel like I'm at a point now where I could do that if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to do it when they were little, because I wasn't going to take anything away from them that I felt like they needed out of me. And he, started a business when they were little. And so he was gone a lot. He had to work, and he still works a lot, but it's different now. If I need him, he'll be here. Then it would have to be I really needed him for him to be here, because whenever you start a business, it's so hard at first. I mean, we've had the salon open almost a year now, and this first year has been very trying because it's a lot of work. And I would say the first 6 months are the hardest, and it starts getting easier and easier. But like, it's a lot to have to do that, and find balance with your family and all of these things. And Gavin doesn't like me working at all. So Ha- Go ahead.
All I was just going to say, and that's one of those places where Gavin has to learn or had to learn and is continuing to learn that it's not all about him.
Yeah.
Right? He has to learn that it's not about me. There, sometimes you have to give a little bit.
Yeah. And so we came to an agreement though. I was working like just whatever day. And I think and that's hard for Gavin anyway. He doesn't love change. And I get it. I don't love change either. So I was like, okay, well, I'll only work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then every other Wednesday. And so that's been fine. And, there's sometimes I still have to go in other days, but that works for us. But that's the thing, though, in any relationship, whenever it's not about you anymore, you have to make sacrifices no matter what that looks like.
Yeah.
As a mom, if you stay home now, you made the sacrifice to give up the second income to stay with your kids. As a dad, if you're allowing your wife to stay home at that point, well, you know what? You sacrifice time sometimes with your family because you have to work longer hours to make sure that the wife can stay home with your kids. Like everyone's sacrificing. I don't like to hear a wife say, if a wife's staying home and the husband works, and say the husband's having to work longer hours because, that's the only way you're paying your bills. I do not like to hear a wife say, well, he's not even here. He's this, he's that. Okay. I mean, so what you would like to do is what? Y'all both go work a 9 to 5 and then no one's with the kids? Like, if that's what you want, like, it doesn't make sense to me.
If you want, if you want to stay home with your children, then that you're going to have to sacrifice time with your spouse. I mean, you're just going to have to, because that's the only way, unless they just make boo-koodles of money.
Yeah.
40 hours a week. And I don't know many people that do that.
No, especially not this day and age.
No.
You have to have extra income. Like when I first started staying home, he worked 7 days a week.
I would do anything to make $1.
Anything. Because, we needed it. Well, he actually started doing that when I went to working part-time. And I tell the kids that dad is working so I can stay home and take care of them and spend all my time with them. I try to teach them that it's yes, it's a blessing. I agree. Cheyenne, like it's and that's not for everyone. Like, not everyone can stay home. Not everyone,
Not everyone
wants to do that. And I'll be honest, I don't know what I would have done had I had a degree already and a career already. Like, I don't know what that would have looked like. That would have been something that, I would have had to pray about. I wasn't saved when I started staying home.
So she wouldn't have been praying about that.
Actually, I was saved when I started staying home.
Oh, when you started staying home?
Yeah.
I thought you meant thought you were saying when you quit going to school.
Mm-mm. I was saved whenever I started staying home. But anyway, any of those things, like, it's something that you'll have to pray about or whatever. If you feel like God's telling you to stay home, that's what you need to do. But like, I have a sister who's an attorney. Like, I couldn't imagine her going to school all those years, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a law degree, and then being like, you know what? I think I'll just stay at the house full time. Like, I don't know. Like, I know at that point I would definitely have to hear from the Lord.
Yeah. I mean, pride is the enemy of marriage. Pride is the enemy of parenthood. Pride is the enemy of salvation. Pride has to die. You have to approach your marriage with humility. You have to approach your children with humility, your employer, your employees. Every relationship you have, you need to go into it with humility and knowing that It's not about me.
Yeah. Um, and the other thing I was going to say is I have another sister who's a school teacher. She has her master's. If they could financially afford for her to stay home, she would. So it's like, just because you have a degree, if you're staying home, don't feel like you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, or whatever. Um, and that's also another where you're not thinking about just yourself.
Mm.
Like I said that about my sister, but it's like if her kids needed her to stay home, that is what she would do. I know her well enough to know she would be like, well, I have a law practice, but my kids need me. That wasn't, the hand she was dealt. And yeah, it probably would have happened to been after the fact she paid all her debt off from school. But anyway, just to steward her money well. But yeah, I think that, we all do things. So if you take anything from anything we've said tonight, just at the forefront of your mind, always have someone else, your spouse, if you're married. If you're not married, your family. Even if you're a kid and you're listening to this, think about your parents sometimes. Like it's detrimental to your children if they grow up their whole lives and everything is about them, and then they get into a marriage and they're having to learn. Make them aware whenever they're a little older. Obviously, when they're very little, they don't understand. Now you can make them not as selfish, because if you can take something away from them, and then when they have to, they learn how not to be selfish through different things that you do.
Yeah.
But when they get 12 years old, you can look at them and say, you hurt my feelings. You can't respond to me that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one has to be taught to be selfish.
Right.
It's natural. Like it just, so you either feed into that selfishness, or at some point you start weaning them back.
And I'll say this. I think that the fact that I was the oldest in the house growing up, it helped me not to be as selfish, because I always had siblings I had to think of.
Yeah.
Like I always had to think of, well, how will this affect them? How would it make them feel if I did this? And things like that. Not going to say that I never did things and didn't think about them, because I did. I was a kid and a teenager and stupid. But a lot of the time I thought of them. And probably, if I'm being honest, that started once my dad got in trouble, because I had to.
Yeah.
I had to shield them from so many things, because I didn't want them to have to go through some of what I was going through in that moment. I wanted them to be okay, and I didn't want them to think negatively about our dad, who was going to prison, and all of these things. So I sheltered them from so much. Even whenever we would go see him, I can remember before we got there the first time, I had talked to them. I had told them, it's not going to be bad. It'll just be, we'll just be kind of like in a cafeteria, because I had went first before they went. So I already knew what it was like. And I was like, you just got to think of it like you're going to school and we're sitting in the cafeteria and we're talking to dad. So my whole entire life, I had protected the people I loved, and I had tried to shield them from all of those things. So I had always put someone else before me. And sometimes, if I'm being honest, I take it a step too far, I think, which is what he was saying, because I'll be the first one to, oh, yeah, I can do that. And it's not anything to do with people pleasing at that point. A lot of times it's protection of the ones that I love the most. So you have to find a balance there as well. You don't want it to be about you. but also you have to take care of you so that you can be the best
That you
for
can
everyone
everybody else.
else. So anyway, next Thursday night we will not be here.
We will not be in studio
Yeah,
next Thursday.
but we will still go live.
We will be live and on location.
Yeah.
From Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
So get your popcorn ready.
Anyway, love you guys.
Love y'all.
Bye.